Get right. All right, so we had Adrian from Wombat Wallet on last week for the EOS IO weekly update with Jimmy that we do every week, and we only had him on for half an hour. And obviously, we talked about Womplay, which is completely and totally incredible. We're going to talk about that again, but I just wanted to have Adrian on again just so that we could shoot the shit and get to know each other a little bit more because there's a whole lot going on. Adrian, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me again. We're back.
So one of the things we talked about before, not everyone knows, I minted the goofball token Shipple back a couple of years ago. And with the CPU crunch that happened on EOS and the fact that Shipple holders were 90% like complete noobs, like we were just using it to kind of play around and start to understand how tokenization works, and that it basically ground to an immediate halt. And it was only with the Wombat wallet and the fact that you have a certain number of free transactions a day that people started actually playing around with it a little bit again. So I wonder how many stories out there are like people that have spent money, like, you know, dev time businesses built on top of the EOS ecosystem that were saved by being able to integrate with the Wombat wallet.
Oh, I don't know how many there are, but I can tell you that some of the most of the games that are still out there running on EOS, they're mostly being used through Wombat, right? So we have on games like, I mean, they're mostly smaller games, right? Like EOS Racing and like Solitaire Duel and stuff. About 95% of the players use Wombat to play these games. And we're obviously offering free CPU for everyone, so it's a very frictionless experience. And I think this, on one hand, that's great, right? And we're obviously happy that everyone's having a good time playing these games. On the other hand, I think that this scared off a lot of people who might have developed on EOS, especially on the EOS mainnet, and they basically haven't, right? They haven't launched their products, and this is very sad. Although we were really quick actually adopting the first signer pays CPU model, right? So that we could actually pool all the CPU together in our CPU pool and offer free transactions for all of these games. So we have kind of unlimited CPU for these games.
Yeah, could you explain that? Like the what was that? The first bit.
The first signer pays. It's essentially it's a model that got adopted by EOS, which is actually pretty great. So you can actually co-sign transactions by a different account, and the first signature that you get. This account is actually paying for the CPU.
Okay.
So we basically have a backend that pre-signs transactions, and the user signs it himself as well, right? And but we're paying for the CPU.
Yeah. Okay. So is that part of the rollout for the new model that just came out with EOS, or is that different?
That's actually older, right? I'm not sure when it came out, but it was I think in fall last year, maybe October. So it kind of coincided a little bit with the ADOS mining event, and it was this was very fortunate that we could at least do that, right? Mm-hmm. Transactions got really expensive at that time, but we could at least cover most of the huge friction that was imposed for most of the people. So we started offering like 5 free transactions for everyone, and we have this prime model where you get you would get 50 back then. Now we're at 10 for free and 100 in the prime model that you can sign in any dApp, right? But for these partner dApps that where we offer a kind of unlimited CPU, you can basically sign as many transactions as you want.
Right. So it makes the whole gaming thing actually start to work again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, many games have adopted them themselves, right? Prospectors,
Right.
they basically have been paying for the transactions for a long time, and then Dynasty have adopted that very quickly as well. So there's basically just a handful of games left that wouldn't offer free CPU either with us or like by themselves.
Yeah, it seems the way that's going. Like Blocks is doing a similar thing that you guys are doing. Nudex has been doing the same kind of thing, or for a while now. So I mean, that's good. It's been really, really good to see the companies that are building in the EOS mainnet space just find solutions for these issues and start to implement them. That's been really good for me to see. As far as like the new stuff that's come out, is there anything that do you know anything about that? Like, I just saw headlines about it. I didn't really dig into what the changes would be like for that.
You mean for the new resource model that's supposed to come out, or
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't spent too much time digging into that lately.
Okay.
I did so when Dan first proposed it, but that's been like 11 months ago already, right?
Right. Yeah.
So or almost a year ago. So I was looking at that back then, and I think it's totally, like, in general, it's totally sensible. But back in the day when ADOS happened, we basically would have needed a quick solution back then, right? Like immediately.
Yeah.
And so while I respect that solution in general, and it's probably going to improve quite a bunch of things, we're kind of in a stable state right now where this is not like a pressing issue for many dApps anymore, because everybody started working around.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for solving that problem we solved 6 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really solve it, right? But
Yeah.
I think we spoke about last time that many developers on EOS were very wasteful with kind of their CPU because it was so cheap originally, right? So everyone was just putting everything on chain, which, like, maybe wasn't necessary. It was just because you could.
Yeah.
So most of them have actually worked around that already. I mean, maybe not Prospectors and Dynasty, but most new projects actually started, like, basically just building less on chain,
Yeah.
and like especially games, and that's probably also quite a healthy approach. So that's maybe not as bad. So we maybe don't even have that much of a demand for CPU as much as we used to back last year. But on the other hand, there's so many cool new projects that came out in the meantime, like all the DeFi stuff, that you definitely do want to do on chain, right? But on the other hand, you also don't need that much CPU for those, right? It's not that many transactions, and all these transactions are essentially value bearing, so they're cool.
Right. Yeah, it's not like you're just like clicking a mine button 500 times.
Exactly.
So oh man, I should have drank way more coffee again this morning.
For me, it's evening already. So
what's that? Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the DeFi stuff. Is there anything on on EOS mainnet or EOS IO that is kind of cropping out to you as far as what people should be paying attention to in the DeFi space on EOS?
Well, just very recently, I think yesterday, Organics launched finally. Right, I've been waiting for that. It's actually one of the most exciting things that's out there. I've been, like, if you know synthetics on Ethereum, then Organics is pretty much a 1-to-1 copy, which is
Okay.
just the right thing to do. It just comes with all the advantages that EOS has for DeFi, because transactions are fast and cheap, and you don't have to pay like millions of gas, which then amounts for like a substantial amount of money on Ethereum, and synthetics is particularly expensive in terms of gas on Ethereum. And
Right.
now Organics is basically solving all that on the EOS mainnet, and this is really cool. And it already saw a lot of adoption within these like 36 hours or so since it got launched.
Yeah, I just found it. It's just OGX, right?
Yeah. So they have a new token, right? You have to swap your old OGX tokens for the new OGX tokens if you want to use it. But you can do that on the app. It's very simple, and then you can start using it right away, and it's pretty cool. You have like these synthetic assets that you can trade, and they have unlimited or pretty much unlimited liquidity, and so you can trade Bitcoin, you can short Bitcoin, you can long and short Ethereum on the EOS mainnet. That's cool.
Looking at this, so I just want to read this out here. So what synthetic assets are? The synthetic asset is a financial tool used to simulate basic assets, financial derivatives, etc. The mint of synthetic assets need excess collateral, and it's price synchronized with the external real assets price through the oracle. So, and again, like somebody actually explained an oracle to me like a year ago. So this is how stupid I am. But basically, that oracle is just something that is pinging an API or a blockchain to see what the price action is and what those things are. So what's Organics? Organics is an EOS-based protocol for the mint and trading of synthetic assets such as cryptocurrencies, commodities, fiat currencies, indexes, and inverse assets over collateralized OGX tokens. So the thing that struck out to me, I honestly like being able to like mint cryptocurrencies, like doing different things. It's all through this sort of protocol. I think is really interesting. I have a bunch of questions about that. But I've wanted to do a top 10 index that rebalances every 3 months for like a gazillion years, right? Like that's the thing that I want. Like I just want to dump money in that. I know it makes money. I've done all the back testing. It's significantly better than owning Bitcoin over anything more than 36 months. Blah 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 blah. Right? So it seems like this would like kind of just let me do that.
You can do that with these organics assets for sure. I mean, last time we spoke about P tokens as well, which is kind of a similar but different concept, right? It sounds similar. It actually is significantly different because they're not like synthetic assets. They're not really synthetic because for each PBDC token, you actually have one Bitcoin token in existence, and this is being held in custody by P tokens, right? So that's something else. Here with organics, these Bitcoin that you trade, they don't actually exist, right? You just trade a price. So you get a price signal through this oracle, and let's say Bitcoin is at 19K. So you can basically spend 19,000 organics USD to buy one Bitcoin price, right? One Bitcoin contract, pretty much. So it's like a future, pretty much. And then if the price moves up, you can just sell this synthetic Bitcoin and get, let's say it's at 20K, so you get 20,000 organics USD back. And there's no counterparty, right? There's like really no counterparty for that. You just get those 20,000 organics USD. And if basically the smart contract, or like if there's not enough organics USD in the smart contract, is basically just going to create new ones, and everybody, like anyone who has put in collateral on organics will kind of have to bear that cost for these additional organics USD. And so that's a totally different concept than just having like real tokens that resemble one physical token, because theoretically you could even trade, you could have more than 21 million organics BTC in existence. You could basically trade more of these assets than they're actually existing.
Right. Well, it's like the derivatives market being like 4 quadrillion or some ridiculous thing. It's like 3 or 4x the actual market itself. Okay, so this is fascinating as hell all on its own. So I've been playing around with the Vigor protocol, which is just, I guess, can we call traditional DeFi at this point? It's been around for 15 minutes, right? Hey, at Ryuk, thanks for commenting your Chirp thing. I'm gonna be giving out 100 Chirp coins to anyone who throws their Chirp account in the comments here. So that'll be fun. And I think if anyone who's watching has a Wax account, you might want to throw that in there too. I might do a Wax giveaway for some NFTs later. All right, so organics, go check that out, everybody. OGX.network. I think that is definitely going to be something to watch. And I think I did actually get some OGX tokens a while ago, so I'm going to have to figure out how to swap those. Is that all integrated in the Wombat wallet?
Yeah, we just listed the Organics app today. So you also have the token. The Organics token. It's a bit difficult to get all the organics synthetic tokens in there as well. We're working on that, but the dApp's listed, so you just go to the DeFi section and you see organics, within Wombat. but you can also, if you open Nudex on mobile, you also see it there. So it's like all over the place right now. And I think, like I said, on Ethereum, Synthetics is one of the most hyped, maybe alongside Aave and Uniswap. So we now have this kind of trinity. We have Vigor or Pizza for lending. We have DeFi's network and DeFi Box for swapping, and maybe Dolphin. And now we have synthetic tokens and assets on organics. It's pretty great. So we basically have all the features that there used to be on Ethereum. We now have on the EOS mainnet as well.
And yeah, just significantly less cost, right? I mean, like at what point? When do you think it's going to happen? Because you would think they're like because I've heard that on Ethereum, the DeFi space is basically like maybe 100 to 1,000 whales that are just like, playing chicken with each other. But obviously there's a lot of other users besides. Like, at what point do the people tweeting out like, "Oh, I have the big gas," like at what point do they figure out that they could do all this stuff, 10 times faster and 100 times cheaper on EOS?
Well, I mean, maybe there's a bit of a chicken and egg problem in that respect, because there's just so many more assets to deal with on Ethereum than on EOS, right?
Yeah.
There's so many more tokens, and these tokens all have much more value. So yeah, you do have these whales who actually, when you move 500K in assets over the Ethereum blockchain, you don't care all that much about $50 in gas, right? And that's exactly what happened there. But it's very exclusive, right? You can't just take $5 and apply the same rules as these whales, right? So it's not for the mass market right now. You can't use DeFi on Ethereum with like $50. It's just not worth it. I actually had my problems with Synthetics myself. I actually staked them in Synthetics after I bought some tokens earlier this year, like in February or so. They were still pretty cheap, and then the tokens started going up, right? Because there was a high demand and it was super hyped. But I couldn't get them out because gas was so expensive that it would have been more expensive in terms of gas to get my tokens unstaked and out of Synthetics than I actually had value in this. Like, I just had a few hundred as an X, right? So I simply kept them there, and I couldn't even claim my rewards because claiming the rewards was like $20 in gas, right?
Wow.
And the rewards themselves were like $5. So I mean, you simply stop claiming your rewards, and so they're lost, right? And where do these rewards go? They go to the people who actually have more and for whom it's actually worth spending $20 in gas to actually claim them, right? And so I didn't get the rewards, but everybody, like the big players, were. So effectively making the whales even whalier. Right?
Yeah, right.
They were even more off of people who didn't put in as much money, right?
You're right, because it was just locked in, because there was no point to actually even try to get it, because the whole system had basically crunched as far as the gas cost. Yeah, so not cool.
You don't have that effect on EOS at all, right? That's what I find really cool. That you can just, even with the little amount of money that you can earn through one play, you earn like maybe 2-3 EOS or so, right, in a week. And then you can go ahead and basically stake them. You can swap them on a DeFi Box or DeFi's. You can stake them. You can stake the tokens that you've swapped them for. You can swap for some organics tokens for some OGX and just get playing, right? And you're not losing much if you try, right? It's just a few dollars and you can try whether that's something for you, whether it's fun, whether you understand it, whether it works for you, whether it's profitable for you. And once you know, you can actually dig deeper and transfer some few hundred EOS into your wallet and start playing with that, right? And you don't need to go with like 10 ETH to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be throwing around tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff to. Anyway, yeah. So that it just seems to me that I like the way you put it. Like, there might be a chicken or egg problem, right? Because like the hype around the price action in those is what drew all of the activity there, and of course that's it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. And so I feel like there may just be a situation where like there's a giant neon sign on top of this, as far as I'm concerned, that basically says we can do all the things they were doing over on Ethereum, only it's 10 or 100 times cheaper, whatever the hell it is, right? Like it's the use cases for everyone, instead of for whales. And maybe I'll just keep screaming that until people are like, oh, okay, cool, we'll hop over there, right? Like it seems like one of those things that has to work. It's just a matter of maybe needing more people with megaphones to start yelling at everybody on Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure whether we'll be convincing so many people to come over from Ethereum, especially the whales, right? The ones that actually are moving these large amounts of money. They're not gonna just hop over to EOS very, very quickly, because they're very well off dealing with Ethereum. But
right.
I mean, obviously, yes, if people with smaller amounts or who are dealing with smaller amounts are getting that message, then they may actually move over. But also, like, the way we're doing it is we're trying to like offer these services to people who have just learned about blockchain, right? So
Right.
people coming through OnePlay or playing some games with OnePlay, they don't know what blockchain, like most of them don't know what blockchain is, how it works, what they can do, what it can do for them. So having a look at some of these products, especially the ones that are like simpler and have a simpler UX, this works very well for them. So we've already onboarded hundreds of people who are non-blockchain users at all, OnePlay into DeFi on EOS, right, on EOS mainnet, because it works, right?
I love that throughput. Yeah, yep.
So even if you just have a few cents, you can already see that you can get some interest, right? You can stake them as a collateral in like Pizza or Vigor. You can get out some tokens. You can borrow something. You can swap that for, I don't know, DeFi's tokens, stake those, get some rewards, or put them onto organics right now. And so this is really cool stuff. I mean, it's a little bit complicated, and UX has to improve for sure, and like on all ends. But this is very much more inclusive than what we're seeing on Ethereum. And I think that this is going to be the power. This is one thing, basically. The second thing is that these synthetic assets and also wrapped assets like P Bitcoin, like the P tokens, this is very powerful because you can suddenly deal with large amounts of assets that have been wrapped, right, from other blockchains like PBDC, just like wrapped BTC on Ethereum, where there's like tens of thousands of Bitcoin floating around on the Ethereum blockchain in the form of wrapped BTC. And now we're seeing hundreds of Bitcoin floating around on the EOS mainnet in the form of PBDC. And if there's demand for that, there's going to be more, right? And the best gateway right now is really EOS Finex, and they've actually managed to push through a lot of adoption for PBDC. So now we see really like 50 or 100 BTC being locked into DeFi Box or DeFi's network. So you have a lot of liquidity to swap for USDT or for other stablecoins or for EOS. So anyone can now buy a Bitcoin, like not real physical Bitcoin, but Bitcoin on the EOS blockchain. And this is really cool. I think that this will help a big deal because people realize that they can now buy and deal with different assets that are like that they don't look native to the EOS blockchain, and they actually see some value, right? Everyone knows Bitcoin.
Yep.
Not everyone knows, I don't know, OGX or Box tokens or DeFi tokens, right?
Yeah.
Tokens. So they will immediately recognize the name and will be drawn into that. And for that little moment of attention that we have from people, we may actually give something to them that may keep them around for a longer time.
Yeah, I mean that I started seeing that just with Shipple even, right? Like we were just coming into the Facebook group that we had for it, and we were, everybody was getting some, and we were like running goofy meme missions, all that kind of thing. But then people started having more questions. Those people now are getting into the uplift NFTs and are exploring Womplay and that sort of thing. So I love that you guys are kind of taking in that direction. Like, come and play. You're in the cryptocurrency space or whatever. It's like, give them a little taste. Here, play this game. Oh, now you have a little cryptocurrency. Right.
Yeah,
and suddenly everybody's super
right?
interested. Yeah.
You don't have to put your own money at stake, and I think this is pretty nice, because a lot of people are scared to actually buy a lot, and like friends are asking, so how am I supposed to buy Bitcoin? So what's the best way? And should I really do that? And I'm not giving investment advice to anyone, right? So I'm saying, yeah, do whatever you want. But a simple way is through, let's say, Coinbase or whatever, and then just let them be there, right? Don't try to run your own wallet because it's too complex. And then they say, so why would I do that anyway then, right? So it's like this is difficult, and people have to actually put some of their money up for risk, and so let's give them some experience that's more risk free, and just gets them going and lets them see whether that's for them or not.
Yeah, I like it. I'm really fascinated with this whole OGX thing. Thank you for telling me about that. I'm gonna be looking at this stuff like crazy.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun.
What was the first project that you were involved in the crypto or blockchain space?
Well, the first project, I mean, my history in blockchain is a bit long. So I actually got acquainted with Bitcoin for the first time around late 2010, early 2011, through online poker. I used to play a lot of online poker while I was studying, back in like 2003, 4, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of stuck around in the community, and the online poker community actually picked up Bitcoin very early on, right? And mm-hmm. They were like offers that you transfer like $400 on PokerStars or Full Tilt Poker to me, and I'll send you like 1,000 Bitcoin. And so this was the early days,
back
right?
In the biz
there were no exchanges for that, right? There was even somewhat pre Mt. Gox, or people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So you had no like transactional security whatsoever for these kinds of deals. It was highly
it either happened or it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So then early 2013, that was about Bitcoin. I think back then was about $70 or $80. That was the first time I really bought like over an exchange and stuff. So that was fun. And ever since that, I followed that. And I remember, for instance, the days when Ethereum came up, like not even launched, but just the idea of Ethereum came up, and I thought, what kind of shit is that? That's never going to work. It was so wrong.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, end of 2016, we actually started. I had a software company, and we're doing like software development for business customers. And we started digging into Ethereum development, and that was right before the ICO hype came up. Right, I met a few people here in Berlin, like Max from Lisk and people like that. There were like all the blockchain meetups were still small. There were like 20 or 30 people around, and like Peter Smith from blockchain.com. And so these kinds of people were just at these small meetups, and you could just talk to them and talk about like ICOs and stuff like that. So that was back in 2016, and it was super fun. And there was a time when we started offering like kind of blockchain development as a service, for instance, like pretty much. And yeah, we dove into all that ICO space, because in 2017 everyone wanted, can you develop a token for me? So we got involved in all kinds of ICOs and basically deployed a bunch of tokens for ICO projects. And then this went on, and this is how we basically ended up doing blockchain full time.
Nice.
Then with Realworks.
Man, being around Bitcoin in 2010 or 2011, like it didn't really show up on my radar until probably 2015. And even then, I was like, how does this work? I was trying to look into it and kind of figure it all out and stuff like that. But I didn't buy my first crypto at all until I think probably mid 2016. But somebody, I think, what's that?
It was still a good time to buy.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was awesome. It was basically, I think it was about 3 or 4, maybe 6 months into the start of that bull run. And yeah, I mean, like I was like and I still am like a decent technical trader, but it doesn't matter, right? You can throw a dart at the market. Like if you can read a chart backwards or like at all, just throw darts at the market, you're going to do well in a bull market, right? Statistically speaking. As long as you're not buying every single top and selling every single bottom. That's not how any of this works. Please get better. Anyway, watching people lose money in a bull market like hurts my heart. It drives me mental, which is why I want to be able to, and I think there's a few coming out, but I'd love to be able to, offer to anyone who says, oh, I'm going to get into trading. Like, here's this top 10, weighted re-weighting index fund. Buy that and just sit on it. Just shut up and sit on it and quit trying to trade because humans suck at it. It's, it's going to go up. Like the memes have been going like crazy, right? Like Bitcoin hits 18,000. Everybody wants it. Goes back to 13,000. Everyone's like, nah, it's going to die. No. Right. It's just, it's all trading is just human psychology, but it's so people wear it so hard on their sleeve and it just makes me want to cry and beat my head against the wall.
Yeah. I mean, in crypto particularly, there's a lot more consumer traders, like really private people who don't really have an idea and who think they do. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Just basically make intuitive decisions, which like there's nothing wrong about that, but it's just very likely that you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
So there's like this irrationality in this market is just so much bigger than in traditional markets. I mean, I used to work for Deutsche Börse, the German stock exchange operator, the biggest one, for 7 years. So I know my bits and pieces about markets and trading and stuff. It's just funny how this works, right? And I mean, I obviously got asked a lot of times whether I would want to build an exchange or I would want to build a trading bot or apply AI or whatever, but this stuff is hard, and it's not like the problem is not the trading strategies. The problem, for instance, just like in classical and traditional markets, is being faster and having more reliable data, right? And so it's like deep down technical issues and not like that much your trading strategy. If you have really good data, there's a lot you can do with that, right? In terms of trading automatically. But you have to get there first, and like many of these APIs aren't really reliable, so that's not for me. I know that a lot of people are making a lot of money from that, and I'm not saying that you can't. It's just that I never wanted to dig really deep into that.
Yeah, but the stuff that I've seen that is consumer facing for bots, I mean, I haven't seen one yet where you can be certain that you will earn more than just hodling. Like, and I'm not saying it's impossible in any way, shape, or form, because I haven't seen everything, but it just seems to be. And like in my partner and I, who have been talking about putting this index fund together for a while, we basically like he just bought like a few different things in 2016, 2017 and held them, and I traded my balls off for a year and a half. Right, I made exactly 7% more than he did, which is like. So dumb. And it was like 20-30x, right? And this is what causes the irrationality in the market, because like every 4 years everyone gets super fucking lucky and then thinks that they're an amazing trader. You're not. It's just like Bitcoin happens to be going through one of its cycles, and money's going to flow away from Bitcoin into all of these other alts and create a bunch of wins, which is great. That's fantastic. But at the same time, like I worked my nards off and I made literally a sliver compared to somebody who just bought and held.
And it's really stressful, right? It's like trading.
I mean, I had fun, but
getting up and realizing. I mean, I'm in European time, right? So for me, getting up in the morning and having missed all the Asian and Chinese action, where like with the huge price movements, right? I was asleep. So there's nothing I could do. And now you see, okay, Bitcoin is 12% up, and you go like, yeah, great, right? Or 12% down. You never know, right? And so like these fun stories or not so fun stories of people like on Reddit where they like made 20,000x with like leverage trading, futures or whatever, or margin trading, right? And then they lost everything because Bitcoin didn't go up beyond 20K back in 2017. And they lost everything because it was super leveraged. And
for every one of those stories where somebody does do massive leverage and they make a ton of money, there's going to be 1,000 people that lose money in a bull market, right? And you don't have to. And I'm starting to get all the questions now, right? Because like people that know that I've been around cryptocurrency for a little while, they're starting to see Bitcoin and they're like, "Oh, do I buy Ripple?" I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Not again. Not again. But it's, I think what you guys are doing with Wombat is perfect because you're showing how blockchain, can be kind of not only used for everyone as far as games are concerned, but it really does create that pathway to now you can start looking at these different products. And never mind like the US market or even like most of the European market, you can have people that are coming in from South America or from Africa and coming in with $1 worth of cryptocurrency that they earned from being on Chirp and posting there or what have you. And they can potentially throw that into a DeFi situation or whatever, and actually start earning on a tiny little asset. And I think once you get bit by that bug and can realize that, like this, or like projecting this out over say 10 years, you're starting to create accruing of real nuggets of wealth that are working for people in places where maybe that just the extent of that in Africa and some South American countries is probably close to nil.
Yeah, it's really fascinating that for us in kind of like Western countries where a few dollars are not that much money and we don't like care all that much about that. It's such difference to people in other countries and other parts of the world, and it's really funny how much quicker they adopt these things because they are of much more value to them, right? For us, I mean, I can obviously go to my broker and invest in any kind of stock. I can even buy Bitcoin. Maybe in the US you can buy Bitcoin with PayPal now, right? But worldwide, that's not necessarily possible. You don't have PayPal in all the countries. You may not have documents to KYC yourself with PayPal. You may not have a bank account to actually have something to actually transfer money to PayPal, right? So PayPal may not be a thing in many parts of the world. So how do you buy or how do you pay electronically, right? And in Africa, there's a lot of M-Pesa, and people just wire money through SMS, and because everyone has a mobile phone, but not everyone has a bank account, right?
Right.
It's really fascinating, and for us, it was super fun. For instance, that was super early after we launched Wombat. We launched Wombat in June last year, and it must have been like maybe August or September. And one of the first communities that came up and told us that they're actually using Wombat actively was a community in Venezuela who actually had a coffee token, and they were actually buying coffee with that token, because in Venezuela you didn't have a stable national currency anymore, right?
Right.
Because of hyperinflation, and suddenly you had something that was inflation resistant, and you could just transfer it around very cheaply and very quickly, right? And this is super fascinating. We don't even know what people are using Wombat for, and sometimes we can't even imagine what people are actually doing with it.
Just the whole idea that you can have sub communities. I mean, that was was the the privileged first world. I wanted to start messing with Shibble to kind of break people's heads out of the idea that money is this thing that is only ever going to be issued by a country, right? Like that it's just that the dollar is a story we tell. It's a deep and entrenched story. There's a lot to it. There's a reason why it works, and it's fantastic. Great, cool. Set that aside for a second. The story that we told ourselves with Shibble is we could just do this for fun, and we were giving it out for charity, we were giving it out for memes, and so it sort of accrued this kind of value within that community. But that's nothing compared to people like a community in Venezuela. If I'm hearing your story correctly, they have or created this coffee token, and they're basically using that as a stable form of trade currency because the Venezuelan currency was completely and totally ridiculous. As far as being deflationary and inflationary, we just couldn't be stable anyway. So that to me is it gives me an amazing amount of hope, like, because absolutely anyone can launch a token now, basically, right? And so, anytime you need, it's almost like they're in a chain that is going off the rails and failing. They're creating basically subledgers for specific types of trades.
Yeah, and this is also what I really like about EOS or EOS.io technology, because it's like the hoops are quite high if you want to get in, right? So creating an account or also getting started with development on it, that's not super easy. But once you have a token, and you can always find somebody to deploy a token for you. We can obviously help with that as well if need be. Once you have that, there's so many things that you can do. You can put up liquidity for it now, right? With DeFi, it has a price. Immediately, right? You don't have to wait for anybody to kind of list your token and for anybody else to supply some liquidity and to put in some basically make the markets for the token, right? You can just put a little bit of EOS on the other side of the trading pair, and you already have a price, right? And
where do people do that? Where do people do that?
On DeFi Box or on DeFi's network, on these swap protocols, or you can also do that obviously on Dolphin Swap or on Pizza. But for me, I don't know. Somehow DeFi Box and DeFi's network are always the go-to swaps.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. We had this for Chain Clash. We in the beta we had this beta token just for testing, which was really worth nothing. But then when DeFi Box launched, I basically just put up a small liquidity pool for the token. People started trading the token, right? Because suddenly there was a value for it. Right. Anybody can do that with any token without even asking anybody, right? So you will just see that if the token has no value, then the EOS will be taken out of the liquidity pool very quickly, right? Like most of them at least, and that's the market price, right? That's the market price of that token that you're putting up. And if you have a nice use case for that, if you have 10 spare EOS, then you just create a liquidity pool on DeFi Box, and your Shipple has a real value. And if people want to buy it, then they will will send EOS to that liquidity pool. And if they want to sell Shipple, they will get at least a little bit of EOS for it.
Yeah. That's we're totally going to do that. And again, it's just to kind of keep running the experiment, right? I just want to make sure I set the price like really, really, really low.
No, you should set it really, really, really high.
No way. No, because we gave out so much of it that, because I think somebody actually sold some, I think on Alcor for like a decent amount, and suddenly like everybody who had like 1 million Shibble, which was everybody, right? Because like we gave out a billion that way. Suddenly everybody had like $700 worth of shill. I'm like, and they're like, of course, the whole thread blows up. I'm like, is this real? I'm like, no.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, go try and sell it, see what happens, right?
You see, that's a problem with like these bid-ask market models. When there's no liquidity, the price is not reliable at all, right?
Yeah.
So the price can be like super far off. This is very unlikely to happen with liquidity pools, because even if you just have one EOS in liquidity in the pool, typically somebody will find that, and if they think that this token is not worth, like, let's say you put up 1,000 tokens, 1,000 Shipple and 1 EOS in a liquidity pool on DeFi Box, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that basically you could theoretically swap 1,000 tokens for 1 EOS. That's obviously not going to happen because of the bonding curve, but you could swap one Shipple for like 1,000th of an EOS, right? So that you can do, right? And if people don't think that the ratio should be 1,000 to 1, but it should be 50,000 to 1, right? Then they will basically send more Shipple to that smart contract and get that EOS out of that liquidity pool, so that the ratio between Shipple and EOS will become 50,000 to 1, right? So the market will always determine the price. And this is exactly what happens all the time with these liquidity pools, even the small ones. People find arbitrage, So as soon as this liquidity pool is like bigger than, let's say, 5 or 10 EOS,
Yeah.
then people find arbitrage between this and other markets, and or if they basically just gotten the tokens for free, they will just sell them for some EOS, and that's great, right? This is exactly what people have done with our beta tokens. Suddenly, like all my EOS was drained because I mean, obviously, people were getting the token for free handed out during the beta phase, and suddenly they could actually make, even if it's just 0.1 EOS, they did so.
Yeah, no, and I think that's exactly what'll happen. But I mean, that I want that to happen, right? I mean, we're gonna have faucets. Shipple's getting launched in Chirp, alongside Dust, and now we've got Boyd in there, and Pommel, and Atmos, and Telos as well. And of course, anybody listening to this, if you know of any token projects that want to have some way of distributing that in a social channel, that's kind of what Chirp is. We're doing that for everybody. So I'd love to have OGX coming out in a tiny little spigot just to promo that, because I think it's super fancy. But yeah, like, having it to the point where I know on Atomic Hub now you can actually host dust auctions on Atomic Hub, and I think there's going to be places cropping up where these sort of community tokens are going to have more and more opportunities to sort of have a use case. Our version of buying and selling coffee.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome with like fungible tokens like Shipple or Coffee or whatever it is, but also with Atomic Hub specifically, where you can just generate your own NFT and just distribute NFTs. Like if there's a market for them, if people want it, then they will buy it, and there's going to be liquidity and there's going to be trading, right?
Yeah.
What I also like about the protocol is that you can set your own fee, right? So whenever it gets traded on the market, you actually do earn a little bit of fee on top of it forever, right? And this is kind of
so smart. So I'm working with Uplift.io, right? So we did the .art, sorry. And we did the music video NFT, and like the series 1 drop is still ongoing. By the way, if you want to get any crates, you're going to want to do that before December 6th, because the price is double after that. Yeah. So and we're going to be releasing like MP3s out to people, because we basically Uplift created a tool already where they can basically take a look at, okay, who owns collector's editions, right? And you get a collector's edition by burning all 25 in a set, blah blah blah. There's you can go Google that and figure out how to do that. But anybody who has a collector's edition in their wallet is automatically going to get an NFT that's going to be a key to redeem an MP3 download link, so you actually get the song. Right, so we're doing a bunch of different things like that. But the secondary market like that is crazy, and Blue and I talk about this all the time. Like, it's one thing for him and I to collab on a song, and if you haven't heard the new Bitcoin anthem yet, you should go take a listen to that. It's called "I'm Not the Bubble." I've never bragged about a song of mine before. This shit is cool. Like, it's good shit.
We'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll play it. Don't threaten me with a good time. It's super fun. Anyway, so we did this thing, but we talk about it all the time. Like, imagine being like an established artist with a sizable fan base, right? And the second you put anything out that's going to be in the collectible or ownable range, it's kind of gone, right? If it's an MP3, people are going to copy it. It's going to go out into the world. That's just the way that we work now. But artists have people like those, 1 to 5% of your fans that are super rabid fans that want to be collectors. And right now there's not a whole lot that they can do. And if you do anything that's collector stuff, there is going to be a secondary market for it. And that secondary market won't mean a thing to you. And now it's completely different, right? If Radiohead launched a collectible line, and you did what they did last time and gave it away for free, knowing that the secondary market is going to blow up, they can have that set at 8% or 9% or whatever it is, and just be making a continuous revenue ad nauseum, right? Who even knows how long that's going to go for? And every single time something goes for a ridiculous amount, you get a little cut. Like, it's pure genius what they did.
Yeah, I really like that self-service thing of NFTs and like all that stuff that you can just do that. And it's for everyone. It's really simple. We also integrated that in Wombat, right? So you can also go ahead and go to Atomic Hub and just buy a few NFTs. Check out Uplift art. There's great stuff up there, right? I really like that the Uplift stuff. and it's so simple. It could like there's always potential for improvement, especially in terms of UI and UX, right? For people who don't know what an NFT is, you would want to explain to them, or maybe not call it an NFT because like what does non-fungible even mean? Right? Maybe things like that. There's still a little bit of potential for improvement, like on all ends as usual.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, it's like this stuff is really awesome. And I also like I've always been fascinated with by NFTs ever since basically CryptoKitties came out, and yeah, it's just great stuff. And it's so cool that because you can do anything that you do with like fungible tokens, you can also do with non-fungible tokens. You can have them stake. You can like they can give you some benefits. They can give you some boosts, whatever, right?
Yep.
You can borrow and lend them. You can trade them. You can put them up as a collateral to borrow something, as long as there's kind of a market price. So there's so many cool things that you can do with NFTs. It's just a pity that they haven't been adopted more within the EOS space.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. I would be remiss if I forgot to mention Nifty Wizards, which is the Chirp founder. Kurt, good buddy of mine, made Nifty Wizards, and like his whole thing is, markets. It's funny for like an uber capitalist. Markets, I think, drive him crazy a little bit. It's like the trading thing. I don't think I think he does a little bit, but it's not really his bag. And the whole buying and selling of collectible NFTs is like whatever. That's like a thing that people do. He needs to give, the NFTs need to give people wizard powers, or he just doesn't care. And I think we need that in this space because that is, I think, an extremely undervalued direction for the whole space. Like the collectible market is fun. I'm having a blast with it, but that being able to imbue special powers or special privileges inside NFTs is going to be a huge deal. And again, where's the beginning, right? What does this look like in 10 years other than a full virtual reality Ready Player One, where the key that is getting thrown around is just an ultra rare Nifty.
Yeah, it's really cool. Don't want to spoil too much, but we'll be working on NFTs as well.
What's that?
We're going to be working on something with NFTs as well.
Huh. Well,
we've done before, but we'll do more.
What can you tell us without spoiling anything?
That's probably it. No, we're basically considering obviously NFTs. NFT support within Wombat has something that has been asked for, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that there's like it's difficult that there's no one standard that you could adopt. So we've been kind of looking into D-goods and simple assets, and now atomic assets came up, and like none of them is really adopted very widely. So it's always like probably better to just open Atomic Hub within Wombat than just try to see your assets within Wombat. But that's something that's going to change for sure. And we're also looking into what NFTs could do within OnePlay, right? Because what would it be like if people couldn't just earn EOS or Wombats, but also NFTs? And what would it look like if they can trade these NFTs or transfer them or stake them or whatever, right?
Right.
And this is probably a really nice way for these new users to get acquainted with these blockchain-based assets that are not fungible tokens. So yeah, we're currently thinking about something here.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And if I could, like just thinking about getting a use case for Shipple, right? Like we're gonna have a setup so that people can get their memes turned into to NFTs. So we got a meme NFT account on Atomic Hubs. If we could have it set up so that we could do like NFT auctions or sales with Shipple, that would be incredible. Because right now it's basically just wax, right? Like you can only really mess around with them in that context, and that's one of the sort of friction points for us even at Uplift, right? Like we're trying to figure out how to do sales with basically Rode USD, which I think they have a plan for it. They'll figure it out. But being able to use any cryptocurrency in a wallet like Wombat might be super freaking nuts. Like if you were selling NFTs or anything and just kind of list down and say, we'll take any of these 20 cryptocurrencies, I think that might end up being like a bit of a coup.
That's actually, that's something that we also have had on the radar ever since Swap, like DeFi Box or DeFi's network or Dolphin Swap came up on EOS. That's actually possible to do that without even asking anyone with DeFi, right? So you could offer a front end where it looks like the price is denominated in your token, right? You could even have a drop down and select one of the tokens that you have, although the actual price is basically, let's say in EOS or in whatever. Let's imagine prospectors. You wanna cash in PGL, right? So you want to buy something within prospectors. So you want to kind of top up your PGL. But you don't have PGL, right? But instead of just asking you to go to an exchange and buy PGL first, you could offer a front end that would basically just be a drop down or be an overlay on top of the prospector's front end that would allow you to select the token that you want to pay with, and this would atomically swap this token against PGL and submit the PGL to prospectors for you, right? And that way you could actually have a price for any asset on the EOS blockchain denominated in any other currency that you want, that you have liquidity for on one of the swap projects.
Adrian for Wombat Wallet. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so many years ago. I'm getting old. It's really annoying. I saw where this was going and realized that somebody with a wallet was going to set up something like PayPal where, and obviously getting vendors on board is a whole other thing, right? Like this is not going to take a small amount of time. But I didn't see any reason why with atomic swaps you couldn't pay whatever you wanted and the seller could receive whatever they wanted, and neither one of you would ever have to pay attention to that at all, right? Like I just want to pay with with PGL or with whatever, and the person receiving wants wrapped Bitcoin or whatever. The fact that you guys are already moving on that, I mean that's where all of this ends up, I think, right? Like people have that, to get philosophical about it. Like I have my philosophical story about what I want to express as value, but there's a real market for that, right? Or like it would obviously tokens would sort of have that variable somewhere, and somebody else says, well, I really want this, and like all that can just be embedded. Like nobody has to see any of that, so it will become norm. 5 years from now or whatever it is, to automatically not ever even think about like, hey, which token do I have to spend on this, or do I have to go to an exchange or whatever? No. You'll just be able to do it all over the place, and it'll be under the hood. Like that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to that. It's probably still, like you said, probably still a few years down the line, but it will happen if all of that has a chance of getting adopted. Then this will happen for sure.
Right. Absolutely.
Or we'll make it happen.
We'll make exactly. You guys are already working on it. Of course, you're going to make it happen. I'm super excited about that. Adrian, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me again. I still think we're going to have lots more stuff to talk about. Anytime you guys are launching anything or want to get the word out about anything, by all means, use this platform as your own. Just let me know when you want to do it.
Cool.
On December 6th, all the crates that are being sold for Series 1 are doubling in price. Again, 50% of all the revenue we bring in from that is going to charity. We've raised $28,000 for HaitianRoots.com already. They're getting food out to a bunch of kids in Haiti, which is super fun. You want to make sure you get enough so that you get at least 25 of the different images, all 25 of the different cards in the common one. I mean, obviously, this is true for all the rarity levels, but you can burn all 25 at once and get one of the collector's editions. And that collector's edition has this music video in it. And anybody who has that is very likely going to be getting a download link for the actual tune. And this is the Bitcoin anthem for this cycle. We're just fucking laying the flag down. Stick it into that thing. Making it happen. So, Adrian, by all means, stick around to check the song out. We'll play the song, and that'll be it. For the couple of you that threw in your Wax wallet, I'll fire you guys some NFTs, and I'll post those links on Chirp a little bit later on. But for now, Adrian, that's it. Is there anything else you want to tell everybody before we break?
No, I think that's it. Just check out Wombat, OnePlay, and play around with some DeFi.
Do it. Yeah, we're gonna learn about OGX too, which is gonna be super fucking fun.
Definitely.
All right.
See you soon. Thanks a lot, Corey.
Let's rock out. Thanks, Adrian.
A Bitcoin bull is all I got left. Sold my clothes, gold no less. Wolves are circling, hollow hands. This man's stronger than the average man. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble. I'm not the bubble. Day the markets take another day to restart and refuel this moon boy ship. My dreams may be futile, but it's you say, well, my dreams may be futile, but Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. Oh, you see, my Bitcoin bull keeps charging away. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not the bubble. 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 I'm not the bubble, 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 I'm the pen. 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 I'm not the bubble, 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 I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen. I'm not the bubble, I'm the pen.